Nobody drives in LA.
Before we get started, a few brief announcements. Love is on the rails for our Valentine's Day special. Have you dated in Southern California without a car? Have you looked for love on the bus? Have you found love on a bike? Have you dumped someone for being too car-brained? Or do you have some other story about navigating the dating scene and terrain of relationships without an auto? We're seeking car-free dating and relationship stories from you, our listeners. We're accepting video submissions, audio submissions, voice memos, text submissions that we'll read on the podcast, or maybe draw us a comic strip. We'll post that too. Whatever you have, we'll take it. Make sure you include your name or a nickname and relationship status when you do. We'll give you a shout out and help you find your soul mate if you're a walker. Totally cool if you want to keep your steamy transit love affairs clandestine. We love anonymous submissions. We'll link to the submission form in the description and in our bio on Instagram and our link tree.
Transit Equity Day.
Speaking of Transit Equity Day, Metro, Metrolink, LA Dot, Foothill Transit, Montebello Bus, NCTD, Okta, RTA, SBCTA, VCTC, Omnitrans, Pasadena Transit, and the Big Blue Bus will all be free on Transit Equity Day, February 4th. If you're planning to take the Angels flight, LA's shortest transit line on Transit Equity Day, that will unfortunately not be free. I know, we're very upset about this. So, for this episode, Eric took a trip to London earlier this year, and we wanted to talk about how he got around London without a car and how that relates to getting around our home without a car. Ivy and I peppered him with a bunch of questions, and our discussion ranges from pubs to the tube to boat transit. We'd also like to thank LA Public Library's Koreatown Media Lab for hosting us and letting us use their mics for this recording. Well, by George, it's time for tea and crumpets. Join us, won't you? So at the dawn of time, the two gods, ruin and preservation, entered into a deal that the god preservation could make sentient life if one day the god ruin could destroy all of it. And to protect humanity, preservation gave up its body to imprison the god ruin within the Well of Ascension. Years later, I rode my one wheel up to the northern mountains of Terrace to the Well of Ascension to free the god ruin. And that is why we no longer have the Pacific Electric Railway in Los Angeles, and I am not at all just repeating the plotline of the Mistborn book series that I am reading right now. That's how I got here today.
Was that recording?
I was like, where are we going? Talk about how did we get here today?
Eric, how did you get here today?
I did my normal route of the 92 to the D line, and in the interest of having anything to say about it, I looked around and I decided that the worst thing about my commute today was that there was a man wearing flip-flops on the D-line train, and his toenails were just a little too long for my liking. That's it. That's really it. That was the worst thing. No stabbings. No homeless encampment on wheels. All this stuff.
Were you tempted to stab his toes with your toenail clippers?
I mean, one of the most horrifying things you ever see in public is someone cutting their nails. So... like, I'm really having to stretch to find anything wrong with, like, this situation. Because, yeah, if he'd been trimming his toenails, I would have been like, I will get off this train and walk. But, yeah, they were, you know, it was, like, slightly too long. Looked like a French manicure almost.
Ooh.
Like, there's just a little bit of white, you know, at the end. It's like, but that was me just looking around like, God, I don't see any trash. I don't see any litter spills.
How do you feel about people on planes who take their socks and shoes off?
I'm sympathetic. I don't like it. But also, I'm the oldest one here by far, so I can remember flying when there were cigarette smokers in the back, which was bonkers.
That was legal?
It was it was the smoking section. I guess the thought is the plane's moving forward, so the smoke's just gonna. It's like Looney Tunes logic, like it just stays pressed against that back wall, like nothing about. Anyway, like if you throw a pencil up in the air, it's just going to fly into the back of the plane at 500 miles an hour, I guess. That's like the thought. But it actually weirdly spread throughout the plane. But I remember that being little. But there was also more room back then. airplane companies have made it so uncomfortable to fly. That's, like I get why people don't dress up anymore, why they dress like they're going to yoga or doing laundry. I get why it's just a miserable experience. So if someone's like, I have to take my shoes off, I don't know. It grosses me out. And yes, I can smell it, but I get it. But my solution would be just make planes more comfortable so that people dress up again.
That'd be fun.
Ivy, how'd you get here today?
So I got here by taking the Metro 4 from my workout studio, Kinergy Studios, West Hollywood. I took the 4 to Santa Monica and Gower and transferred to the Dash, Hollywood, Wilshire, and took that to Western and 6th and walked over to the library here. And I actually took a risk because when I was looking on Google Maps, I was like, I really want to take a different route today. And I feel like in the area I was in, there are so many different connecting buses. I've never taken the Dash, Hollywood, Wilshire before, so I was like, cool. And I don't know, kind of intimidated by LADOT buses for some reason. But I was like, today I'm going to conquer that fear. And when I looked on Google Maps, it said that bus was canceled today. And I was like, really? I don't think so, because I checked. There were no service alerts.
I'm on it
Transit
right
app
now.
still said it was coming. And then I switched from Google Maps to Apple Maps. It said it was coming. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to risk it. And it came. It was fine.
For people that don't know, which might be some people listening to the podcast, Metro, like LA County, Metro is an LA County authority, and then LA City has its own Dash and commuter buses. And I've actually never taken a Dash bus. I've wanted to just out of completism, but it's never, it just hasn't come up.
Yeah, that was my mission too, just to check another box. But it's very comfortable. It's very clean.
I mean, there's absolutely no reason to not take. It's just never in the cards for me. I see them at my stop sometimes. I try to peek in it looks pretty much like a Metro bus.
Do you tap into them like you normally would? How do you take it?
They were free for longer than.
Oh, really?
I think they were free until fairly recently as a pandemic thing, and now they're $1.25 or something like that.
According to LADOT's website, standard fare for the Dash is 50 cents. Tap card fare is 35 cents. Senior fares are 25 cents and 15 cents with a tap.
But I was wondering too, and I don't know if you know this, because just the way it's written, Dash in all caps, is it an acronym?
I don't know. I mean, my colleague who I worked with, she for the longest time thought it was pronounced LADOT.
Oh, I've heard people do say that, LADOT.
But Dash, I don't know.
Yeah. What would be really trippy would be if Commuter Express is the acronym and the Dash, they're like, no, we don't have it. No, nothing.
We're going to have to make a giant acrostic for Commuter Express.
Yeah, we don't get enough email from listeners. So yeah, if you can figure out what Commuter Express should stand for, if you can make a backronym for Commuter Express, send it in to us at nobodydrivesinlapod@gmail.com, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Also, according to LADOT's website, Dash stands for Downtown Area Short Hop.
So today we're talking about Eric's travels to London.
London, England, not London, Ontario, just to clarify. So I was in London in the summer. It was my second time being there. My first time was in 2015. So it was nice to have a 10-year window where I could look back and, I don't know. I'm reluctant to make too many observations about a place that I'm only spending a weekend. But that's what I do. That's why I have a series on my blog called Where Fools Fear to Tread, which is a play on the Alexander Pope, where fools rush in where angels fear to tread. I'm like, well, I go where fools even fear to tread. I'll make those assumptions and generalizations.
Like walking in Los Angeles, where fools dare to tread.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that should be another side podcast. I was surprised a lot by how different London is. I think in the 10 years since I've been there, it has gone from being a white majority city to a white minority city, which is very obvious when you're there and which gives a lot of some people of certain political stripes, that gives them great concern. And Other people, it's like, oh, the food's better, but and then other people are just like, I don't know, it's different. Like England is a changing place. It's never all been one people. There were Celts, and then there were Anglo-Saxons, and then there were Vikings and Normans, and like waves of people. It's still the most Londony place on earth. But
London is the most London place on earth.
I feel confident saying that, even only having spent like 20 days there total ever. But also, one of the things I really did notice is that a lot of the pubs have closed, and it seems like there's more vape shops than pubs. And some of that's not down to demographic changes, it's just down to younger people not drinking as much, but also just third places going away. And that is really sad to me. And like the first time I ever went into a pub in London, it was with a group who, besides me, were all Asian. And I think they did feel kind of like they were going into a space where that wasn't for them, which I don't know, maybe pubs could do a better job of saying like, this is for everybody. It's not just, like, because they were like, oh, they were whispering, we've never been in a pub before. Is this okay? I'm like, it's a public house. That's what it's short for. Everyone is supposed to be welcome here. It's not a private club, but, and you don't have to drink to enjoy a pub. You can, it's like, it's a public house. We need more third places.
So we want to talk about third places, taking me back to the highly sophisticated city of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Almost as old as London, almost as sophisticated. We have pierogi houses. My band played as part of the Scranton music conference this past fall, and they assigned us to a music venue that is a punk club that is inside of a vape shop. It's on the side of the highway, so there's like no houses around, so they can do shows as late as they want because there's nobody to complain about noise. And so you go into this vape shop, and it's so weird because like there's just a bunch of whatever kind of vape flavor you would want is there. There's a little like art corner in the back where they have like an artist who sells their wares. I guess there's a barber shop in the back of this like open floor vape shop too. And they just do punk shows every weekend and during the nights during the week. And it was like a lot of my friends back home don't drink. And so they've like, if we do a show at a bar, they're like, but like really what is there for me? I'd rather be playing Pokemon cards. And, but at the vape shop, and like the dude who owns the vape shop is a carpenter. So he'd just like carpenter tables and stuff. So like, oh, you can go do that. But it was so nice to be in a place that was, like a concert venue that didn't have the alcohol component to it that so much of like local dive bar shows have, And it just felt like a very like wholesome, friendly, welcoming environment. And I don't smoke, I don't vape, I have no interest in any of that. So like there was like a little cider stand set up, so I got a cider and a Diet Coke. But
I love that. I'd love to go because I don't really drink either.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, and I'll also say one of the things about pubs that I really like is that they don't always have loud music. It's very rare to go into any space in America that they're not playing music. And like I know Kyle and I both love music. Ivy, I assume you love music too. Yes. We all love music. Most of us love music, but that doesn't mean like walking around London, going into like a Sainsbury, I was like the grocery store. I was like, there's no music playing. How odd. Going into a pub, there's no music playing. I was like, you don't have to soundtrack every moment of everyone's lives. How nice. And you can have a conversation then, and then it doesn't feel, if you're in a pub that's a drinking establishment, but they also have billiards and darts and TVs are on, people are just hanging out talking because part of the reason I think they play music so loud in American bars is so that you can't talk. Because when you can't talk, you're like, I guess I'll just walk back over to the bar and get another drink because you're like, what am I supposed to do with myself here? Yeah. Like, I can't have a conversation. It's a bar. I guess I'll just drink.
Yeah, or like if you go to, I don't know, like a Los Angeles dive, the music is playing so loud that you have to shout over your friends to be heard.
And everybody's shouting.
And how many times do you say, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say it one more time. And then is it like the third time where you're like, I'll just smile and be like, haha, okay. Like, I hope that's an appropriate.
Then they bump the music up just a little bit louder.
They're like, I think those people are able to hear each other still. Could it be a little louder? Yeah. So that's one of the really nice things that I found about London. I kind of broke it down into my observations into little categories. We're watching a 4K walking video of London to remind me of stuff. Look how narrow this street is. But also that's a very narrow sidewalk too.
How are you going to fit any cars down that
You
street?
couldn't even fit an American car down that street. And that is one of the things. I saw so few SUVs. And it's not because rich people don't want to floss and show off how big of a car they can afford. Cars are taxed by weight over there. So most people drive the smallest car that's practical. And yeah.
Is
And
this a one-way? Two-way?
I think it's probably a one-way, but like that's like the biggest car in England right there.
Wow.
But even the cops drive small cars. It's like, oh yeah, I guess you can fit the suspect in the back of a Prius. You know, like, why not? Why does it need to be this giant? Like it's look how there's like a Renault. You know, these cars probably aren't even legal in the U.S. They're like, it's too small for our streets. You don't see people. Oh, one thing that stood out to me, and I did make a point of looking around. I never saw a single person on their phone while driving there, which is, if you live in Los Angeles, you never stop at a red light without seeing half the people on their phones. And again, it's not because they're just classier or have higher standards or aren't psychopaths like drivers here. It's too narrow. The streets are that's got to be what it is. Like the streets are too narrow to be on your phone because here, I can just kind of drift a little bit to the left and right. I've got a cushion and there's a bike lane over there and no one's in it. It's fine. But like, I never saw anyone on their phones over there. And I part of it might just be culture too, because I also only saw one kid on a device. And actually, the last time I went to a restaurant was a Hong Konger restaurant in Temple City. And all the kids are on their phones. There's like, all the kids are wearing pajamas and they're all on their phones in the restaurant. And I'm like, no one's having a conversation. Like, I don't know. I don't have kids. Obviously, like, take it with a grain of salt, because maybe if I had a kid, I'd be like, oh, I know it was easy to say like no devices for the kids when I didn't have one. But now it's just like, here, Billy, look at the phone. But I only saw one kid on a phone over there, and it was while his mom was waiting in line at McDonald's, and he was sitting by himself, and he was doing math.
How productive.
So I was like, he's not even just watching like some inane kids program. Or I guess that is. Look, it's wide enough for two very unsecured bikes in London. I was surprised. A lot of people have like a little walled-in front yard, and they just leave their bikes there. There's one thing that I did notice in the last 10 years, cycling is it seemed so much more common now. I remember when I went in 2015, I was like, oh, it's nice that they have, so many people take trains and buses everywhere and walk everywhere, but it seemed very nerve-wracking to ride bikes. And it still seems very nerve-wracking to ride bikes because it's so narrow. But we're just seeing like bikes here and bikes there. Like in this alley, there's just bikes. And there were a lot more bikes, and the demographics of the cyclists are a lot different too. And I was prompted to think about that. I was walking around Greenwich one day, and I saw this same woman a couple times throughout the day. So she was very striking, and I'm commenting on her appearance because there is a point. She was a black woman wearing like just flares and a vest, like not wearing, bike gear or whatever. She wasn't riding as part of a group ride. She's apparently I just kept seeing her around, and I was like, oh, she's just running errands or going to the cafe or whatever. And like, that's so much less common here. Like only 16% of cyclists in Los Angeles are women. And just today I was looking around, I counted about a dozen cyclists, which is a very small number because today is like the best cycling weather. It's midwinter, it's cool but not cold, and there's a breeze, and the sun's out, but there are also Simpsons clouds in the sky, so you get, it's not just relentless sun. And I saw so few cyclists, and I only saw one woman riding her bike today, and she was riding as part of a group. And again, I'm not like dumping on people who ride for groups, not dumping on people who just ride recreationally, but she was in a group of like all lycra-clad people. And that was the bulk of people that I saw riding bikes today, was like groups of 3 or 4 people in lycra, and not just people casually going about their day on bikes, which we just saw some people. Look at those guys. That guy was wearing blue jeans on a bike. That's insane. You would just not do that here.
Well, when you wear long pants on a bike, it just gets, at least on the way my bike is, sometimes I like to wear layers. And if I go biking in my sweatpants will always, on my left foot, will get caught in the gears of the bike or on the pedal mechanism. And it's so frustrating because then I have to like roll up my bike pants. But then as I'm pedaling, they fall down.
You can have my clips if you want, because I used to wear clips because I did used to wear like boot cut pants and stuff, and they would, would get caught. Yeah, they just like a pant clip. It's just you just fold your pants, and then it's like a little metal horseshoe that just lightly holds your pants close to so you don't have to tight roll them. Seriously, I'll let you have one. I mean, you honestly only need one. You only need it on the chain side. I guess you have two so that it's aesthetically pleasing to people. They're like, I don't like how that guy has a flappy bell bottom on one side, and then And those pants, I did recently donate all of them through Sela because I realized after like 20 years of not having worn them that I'm never going to fit into them again. And they probably all have like a little bit of bike grease on the right side, the right leg.
So Eric, what for the tube?
What?
What for the tube?
What for the tube? Oh, the tube. The tube, just to be totally honest about it, I think it's the oldest subway system in the world, right? It's very hot. I did not remember that from last time. It was uncomfortably hot and built for smaller people, that like people that were in a shorter era or something. I hit my head a lot in transit in the UK, on the buses too. I was constantly hitting my head. The tube was very hot. I did get to take the Elizabeth line because we stayed out in the kind of eastern suburbs of Greater London and would go into town every day, and that's like £4. So I don't know, roughly $5-ish around there. I can't do exchange. So that's kind of like the Metrolink equivalent, like taking the commuter rails, and they have the overground, and then the tube is like the subway, but it's a very tiny hot subway that's so far down below the earth too. Like you really have to descend down escalator after escalator. But I guess some of it's, it's so dense with the trains in this city center that they're probably just like that tube line is above that tube line, and then there's one below that. So but yeah, the tube was fine, but honestly very hot. And I guess they've looked into different ways of making it cooler, and it's just really hard to figure out because pumping air conditioning, it would be very cost prohibitive. But not my favorite thing with the tube. Much prefer the overground trains and the buses. But I'm kind of like that anyway. Like here, I know that the people that are in a hurry like the subways more than the light rails, but I like to see what neighborhood I'm in. Oh, see those jagged lines? I was like, that so many traffic signals are universal or basically universal. You go to another country, you're like, oh, that's a stop sign. That means this, that means that. I hadn't seen those jagged lines anywhere else, so I did look that up. And that just means absolutely no parking at any time.
So the jagged line is we're watching a walkabout of London while we're recording this, and on the side of the street there are these like jagged, we're like on our sidewalk lines, which are that denotes the shoulder. The ones here, they're like jaggedy and diagonal and spiky and pokey and not straight
and if this
lines.
were Los Angeles, there would be cars parked in all of those, but with their hazards on, so it's okay. You can your hazards are you do anything you want. Lights.
I will say about like downtown living now that after, it's most of it happens all day, but specifically after 5 p.m., wherever the bike lanes are not protected, as soon as the bollards stop, someone will always nose right up to the edge of it, as close as they can get. So when I'm, biking or wheeling around, you have to like skirt around into traffic, and you can't use the protected bike lane because an Uber or a car or something is just blocking off the entrance to the protected part of it. Like, just give me like 2 feet, and I can. Come on, man.
I wonder if those bus cameras have been effective lately.
I think so. I wish they would put those on everything, put bus cameras everywhere. Just start writing tickets for people. But at the same time, trying to be diplomatic, I know a lot of people that are parked in those spots are food delivery people.
That's
they're,
true.
They're not making minimum wage because they work for wealth extractive multinational tech leeches. And they're not parking there because they just like breaking the law. They're parking there because the rest of the parking spaces are taken for up to 72 hours by people who are just like, well, it should be my God-given right to store my private property in public space forever and for free. And we have to like reorganize the way the curb is so that, half of the curb should be like green curb now. Be like, you got 15 minutes and then don't park in the bike lane.
Yeah. Do you know Mobility for Who? Do you follow?
Yeah.
Do you follow her? Okay, so she had this.
We want to have her on at some point. The content, it gets me riled up a lot. It's like rage porn.
I would say, as someone who is, my therapist would say, I'm a people pleaser who needs to hold and enforce more boundaries. I really appreciate Mobility for Who's content because they don't let cars get off the hook. They'll post a lot of reels where they're biking around and like someone will drive up to them and just start yelling.
Oh yeah.
And like she'll argue back with them or like point out this stuff. But the one thing that she was doing that was really, really cool is this is an acronym of a lot of acronyms today, but she would call it the crap squad, like CARP. I forget what it was, but they would go and they would drop cones, like orange traffic cones along the sides of curbs and like in bike lanes where people would park or at school crossings where cars are not supposed to be, that cars would just show up. They would go around town and just drop these traffic cones in places where cars are not supposed to be that they always go. And that is like, that was like such a cool thing to follow on social.
That's great.
I'm like, oh, I should start doing that downtown.
But it's funny because drivers have a version of that too, of their own code of the cones, where they're like, I put a cone in the street here, so that means only I can park here because that's my cone, and then I put it in my trunk when I get here, but you can't park here.
I do that with EcoSet.
I saw a cartoon where someone had like a bike parked in the middle of like a traffic lane with the light, and they're like, oh, it's okay, my lights are flashing and I'm just going to be inside for a second. Like how annoyed people would be if you did that in a bike, but that we've normalized that so much in Los Angeles. I don't know if you can see it right now, but one of the things, so the paving stones, the sidewalks in London are almost always like fit together, smaller stones instead of like poured concrete that you get here. And I don't know if that's bad for wheelchairs or high heels or what, but you'll also notice they're way more even. Like they're very flat. So I didn't see any buckled sidewalks, and they do have a lot of street trees over there. And most of their street trees are London plane trees, which is a hybrid of the Oriental sycamore and the Occidental sycamore. And the Occidental sycamore is just Oriental plane tree and Occidental plane tree. And the Occidental plane tree is the sycamore in American English, which is native to Southern California. So when people say like, oh, you can't use sycamores as street trees, they're too messy and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know. They use them in a continent where they don't naturally occur, and they seem like they're doing just fine. And their sidewalks are, pretty flat. Although, yeah, sometimes, as you can see, pretty narrow. But everything's narrow. I mean, the video we're watching, it's almost claustrophobic how tight this alley is. I do love. Oh, look, who was Jack the Ripper? I was like, this definitely has to be like Jack the Ripper country.
Ivy, do you have any London questions, London observations to field?
Not a question, but an observation was looking at these very narrow roads. It makes me think of Waymos and automated cars because nowadays we know that they're very popular in LA and San Francisco and places, and they're actually really, really, really impressive for what they can sense because for maneuvers that humans probably cannot do, they can do. Because I remember one time, I wasn't in my car, so I'm not proud of that, but I was going down a very narrow road in Palms and there was a Waymo coming toward me and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. But it was very, very smart and it did like be just the right angle to where it avoided me. So if automated cars are a thing in London, I feel like it would work.
I did not see I don't think they're permitted. I will say that I've been having having Waymo experiences over here lately, and I'm of two minds about them, like I am about most things. On the one hand, they're the only cars on the road that follow the speed limit.
Yeah.
And signal when they change lanes, usually. But I have seen them do some weird things where they park in a bus lane and don't get out of the way for a bus. I've seen them twice. In fact, today I had one that signaled that it was going to go right, which would have hit me. And then instead it went left, even though it was signaling right. And I saw one do that the other day. Signal right and then go left. It seems like they change their mind really fast. I'm not saying they're worse than human drivers, but they seem like they mirror some of the bad instincts of human drivers. And there was an article that someone in Streets blog shared from, I think it was from Bloomberg News, about how Teslas have a Mad Max setting for their driverless cars. And that allows them to speed and roll through stop signs and not signal when they're changing lanes. And I was like, that is just psychopathic to me. Yeah. And like, I get that and not that it's a defense, but rolling through a stop sign, you're like, I'm in a hurry. Speeding, you're in a hurry. Of course you're in a hurry. You hate that every second that you're in your car that you pretend to love. But changing lanes without using a signal does not get you anywhere faster. It just it's just whole behavior. And so to have that be a setting, like that just seems criminally insane to me. And I guess Waymo's like, well, yeah, we might have to do that too to be competitive. And I'm like, how about no? Just like obey the laws, you know? And like, I don't know if you've heard, like there've been a couple stories about Waymo's hitting pets and stuff. And I guess, you know, I mean, I'm sure human drivers, we know that there's roadkill and it's not all Waymos and accidents that aren't all Waymos, but it does make you think about how a Waymo is going to weigh, maybe that's why they're called Waymos. It has to weigh the possibilities of what it's going to do because, you know, it's not going to like stop for a bug, obviously. Is it going to stop for a bird? What if it's a condor? I don't know. Or an owl and then so they have to make some kind of decision. And there's that philosophical moral test of like, do you hit the old woman or swerve to hit the school bus full of children? Like, are Waymos going to be like, don't crash into this wall and kill the driver? That's the owner of this car. Like, kill the school bus full of children. I don't know. But I don't know if they've, you know, worked out all that stuff yet. I've still never taken a Waymo. I'm curious about it. I do think that once they want to start making a profit and they've driven all the taxi companies out of business and stuff, and they're like, okay, now there's no competition and there's no reason not to do this, they'll start having like Waymo Platinum, where it's like, oh, if you subscribe to Waymo at a higher price, you can just get right into your Waymo. Otherwise, you have to stand in the rain and watch 3 minutes of commercials, and then you can get in. And I don't know why, you know, right now they drive. I have seen newer models that look kind of like Volkswagen minibuses around town instead of the white Jaguars.
The cute blue ones.
Yeah, they're cute.
They're very cute.
Just like the delivery bots. Like they're smart to make them cute because you're less likely to abuse something that looks cute, you know, like kick over a blinking delivery bot. You're like, oh, but that one has a name and it's cute.
I have ordered so many 100 pounds of Samosa House in Santa Monica that the cute little Coco has dropped off to my old apartment. Ugh.
I've
never hate that robot that brings me curry.
See, I'm such like a Luddite. I've never even used DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats. I've never used a delivery bot. I like cooking and I like going to restaurants. I like being in spaces. I hate the idea of just getting it at my house and just watching my phone in one hand and there's like a Netflix show. You know, they have this whole concept now of like second screen entertainment. And it's like, oh, this is Netflix. There was like a Netflix memo or Hulu or something where they were like talking about this is a second screen show. This is something that people will not be paying attention to. So you need to like restate the plot points over and over because people that watch the show are all on their phones. And I think that is so grim. I think that is so grim. I turn off my phone when I go to a movie still.
The one limitation to Waymos was I was in San Francisco a couple weeks ago, and my cousin was like, we should try taking a Waymo for the first time. And that was coincidentally the day that the blackout happened. So all these Waymos are just stranded on the streets.
Oh, I had a memory of something that the podcast will enjoy. They have a gondola in London, and people mock it there. They call it the Dangleway, and it's kind of an Is
it a good thing or a bad thing?
It's not. It's a useless thing. It's a useless thing so I guess the cycling community was like, we need a bike bridge here, and then the government was like, no, what we need is this Dangleway, and the great news, it's going to be all paid for with private money, and so it won't come out of taxes. But then there wasn't enough money, so then they did have to use the money from taxes to pay for it, and it operates at like 9% of its predicted capacity, and no one wants to buy the naming rights of it because it's not profitable and it's just a waste, which kind of sounds familiar. It's more of a Shelbyville idea. I'll just say it again.
And listen, if you never hear from Eric again,
you know why?
you know why.
Do we have listeners in London?
I think there are a lot of people that identify as some kind of transit enthusiast who just think anything is good. Build anything. Build a Tesla tunnel. Build a canal through a city with, and if it's private funds, who cares? If it goes through one of the best public parks in the city and takes it out and half the trees, that's fine.
Speaking of which, I went for a run at that park the other day.
That's a great park.
It is amazing.
It's great now, but
it was really frustrating going from Pershing Square to the LA Historic State Park, just because like stops lights at every block, and so like as soon as I'd start running, stop, and I got really, really frustrated as soon as I got to the park, and then I just got to run around it, and like, oh, this is amazing.
There are little easy fixes that could make it even better, like just having a staircase that goes over the A-line tracks to take you to Elysian Park. That would be nice. A staircase and an elevated walkway, an escalator to Dodger Stadium, more bike lanes, more placemaking, wayfinding.
Eric, excuse me. We need a gondola that is going to go.
We should put everything on hold
above the park. We need a gondola. It needs to be lower
to an empty parking lot. A parking lot that's empty 280 days a year.
That's right. You've solved it. You've solved it.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts, observations that you would like to get out before we have to vacate the library?
There was a lot of boat traffic in London. I love seeing boats on the Thames. There's houseboats, barges, and ferries, of course. So that's all. You know, there's, as Ratty said in Wind in the Willows, there's nothing so good as messing about in boats, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. No, honestly. No, I mean, I have areas. I really like Camberwell. Camberwell is a largely Nigerian neighborhood, and it's working class, but it's also not deprived of city services, seemingly, which is something it's very hard to do in America, to have a working class neighborhood that's also not completely neglected by the city. So you go there and you're like, wow, they have street trees. There aren't a bunch of tree stumps. There's not litter or fly dumping. They call it fly tipping. There's not fly tipping everywhere, and people are walking and people are cycling. You can apply to get a bike shed on the street for your bike that locks up, like a little bike garage for your personal use from your neighborhood council there. That's awesome. Which a lot of people did do. And yeah, I saw like more people walking and cycling on Sundays than I saw driving, and I just thought Camberwell's so charming.
Let's do a London magic wand.
I mean, I would just make more public houses, more pubs in Los Angeles, true pubs.
My London, Los Angeles magic wand is we are going to bulldoze and expand the Venice canals throughout the entire city so we could have more boat traffic in Los Angeles.
We should definitely restore the canals.
Restore them, and let's just bulldoze
And
and,
then make
dig
new
out.
ones.
Let's dig out the entirety of Lincoln and just make it a canal.
Yes.
Boat rapid transit line. Ivy, how about you?
I like what we talked about the narrow roads making people pay attention more when they're driving, because in LA, that is not the case.
How would we make the roads narrow? I mean, I think, like, honestly, my solution is more, first, protected bike lanes. If you have a little concrete island, that takes away some road space and squeezes the cars a little tighter. And then landscape medians are so nice.
Yeah.
So bioswales for bioremediation.
Yes. Rain gardens.
Make the lanes smaller and then see what you can do with the leftover space that you've saved by reducing how much space cars get.
Maybe we can do an episode that is all about like green medians, bioswales, rain guard, gutter things. Maybe Ivy, you can tell us about how that stuff all works.
That'd be super cool. My parents' house, we're actually doing some rain garden work
Nice.
over there. So
It's the season for it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, let's do an episode about that.
yeah, let's do it.
Okay, party. Let's start breaking down.